Between working 2 jobs, managing my own social media, keeping up with university, running a YouTube channel, and still trying to have a life, I've got a lot on my plate. And if it weren't for the systems that I have in place now, I probably wouldn't even have a YouTube channel anymore. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I stay organized, juggle all my tasks, and keep everything moving smoothly in my day-to-day life. Scheduling and time management, to staying productive and avoiding burnout, I will break down my entire system. You guys have no idea how excited I am to talk about organization today because it is truly the one way to my heart. Anyway, let's get on with it. Scheduling is the foundation of my organization. Staying organized starts with scheduling. And if you're someone who balances classes, work, side projects, or you're just trying to keep up with life, having a system in place is essential to keeping everything in check. And here's how I break it down. Step 1 is capturing and planning. The first thing I do before anything else is to capture everything. Ideas, tasks, reminders, random thoughts, everything, so that nothing is stuck in my head causing overwhelm. I am someone whose mind runs a mile a minute, so I can't be responsible for remembering every single little thing I need to do or every idea that pops up in my head. This is why I write everything down and I have my lists. Brain dumping. I do this regularly, especially when my mind is racing with tasks or ideas. And for this, I use a combination of apps. So I use Notion and my Notes app. Or sometimes I'll just use a piece of paper. Whatever is closest for me in the moment is what I use. Next, we have to-do lists. I break everything down into daily, weekly, and monthly to-do lists. For me, writing things down gives me a sense of clarity, and for this, I prioritize my tasks by urgency and importance using the Eisenhower matrix, also known as the urgent important matrix, or I use the rule of 3. The Eisenhower matrix sorts tasks into 4 quadrants. First is urgent but not important. This is what you're going to do first. Then you have important but not urgent. This is what you're going to schedule. And then urgent but not important. This is what you're going to delegate, or neither urgent nor important, and that is what you're going to eliminate. And the rule of 3 is very simple. You're going to take 3 of your most crucial tasks that you can get done in the day. It's basically just like your 3 top priorities of the day. Personally, I like using the rule of 3 because it really helps me keep my focus by limiting my daily tasks into 3 important items. It keeps my workload more manageable and my productivity high. Also, having measurements like these can help you measure your success to feel more accomplished in the day. Step 2 is scheduling and time management. Once I've gotten everything down on my paper or my notes app, the next step is to schedule. I can literally talk about scheduling and time blocking forever, but I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown for now. Okay, my calendar system. Personally, I use Apple Calendar just because it syncs up to all my devices and it's really easy to access. I like it to visualize my daily, weekly, and monthly. Then time blocking, like I said, is one of the many techniques that I use. This is where I assign a specific task to a specific time in my calendar throughout the day. I basically treat every hour like a mini project. So for example, from 9 to 11, maybe that's where I film or plan YouTube content. But from 2 to 3 is where I do some admin work. Maybe I answer some emails. Maybe I do a little bit of editing. Depends on the day. This way I can stay focused on the task at hand and avoid multitasking, because when you multitask, you actually end up getting less done. Also, a trick for time blocking is to write down every single element of your life. So those can include things like your financial, your family, your friends, any social time, work, school, your relationship, future development, working on yourself, and healing. You're going to break it down for you though. Tailor them to your needs. Now, flexibility. While I absolutely love structure and love planning, I also make sure to leave some buffer blocks in my day for any overflow or unexpected tasks. As much as I don't love it, my scheduling and my calendar, it changes sometimes, but being able to be flexible helps me to really stay consistent. Okay, so balancing your work, personal life, your self-care. The key to not burning out is balancing your work with your personal time and your self-care. I try to keep my evenings free from work-related tasks and ensure I spend time unwinding, whether it's watching TV, going for a walk, maybe having dinner with some friends, reading, whatever it is, and make sure I have that time to unwind. A great thing, if you're not in a traditional 9 to 5, let's say you work for yourself, try sticking to that 9 to 5 time frame. Start work at 9 and work at 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever. Just make sure that you're giving yourself enough time before and after work to just be with yourself, be with your friends, have fun. This is what we're in life to do. We're supposed to be having fun. We're supposed to be enjoying ourselves, not just clocking in to work and clocking out every day. As for my weekends are reserved for fun and relaxation as much as possible. With Sunday being my absolute rest day, this is where I try to avoid technology like the plague. And doing all of this really just keeps me feeling energized for the week ahead. Then we have cycle-based planning. Going with the same theme as self-care, I've been recently blocking my calendar based on my cycle. So for example, during my follicular phase, which is right after your period, is where I'll start new projects. I'll batch film content since my energy is higher. But during my luteal phase is when I'll focus more on admin work. Maybe I'm editing a bit, tying up loose ends so that I'm not pushing myself when my energy is low. Doing this has actually been helping me use my time a lot better and working with my body instead of against it. Now, I understand that not everybody has the luxury to switch around their schedule, but you can still work with your energy where possible, like tackling high focus tasks when you feel more alert and leaving smaller and easier tasks for low energy times. This is just to all make your day feel a bit smoother. Step 3 is the digital and physical organization. Now, let's talk about organizing both your digital and your physical spaces. Organization is not just about your calendar. As much as I love mine, there's a lot more to it. It's about managing your environment. Digital organization, I am very, very, very strict about my inbox zero rule. I really can't deal with the little red dots on my phone. They really bug me for some reason. I can't do it. So for that, I clear out my emails. I sort files into my Google Drive. I make sure my camera roll and my photos is clean and clear. So I get rid of any screenshots that I don't use anymore, any duplicate photos. I go through all of that maybe like once a month. And as for my Notion workspace, I keep it simple but very functional. For content related things like ideas, scheduling, I keep all that stored in my photos in Notion. And then as for university related things, I store all that in Google Drive. And I also like to keep track of my budget in Google Sheets. Okay, so your notes and ideas. Whenever a video idea or reminder pops up in my head, I write it down immediately. I put it straight into Notion or my notes. It is the only way I remember good ideas without losing them. Then we have your physical space. I like to keep my workspace very clear as much as possible. I do this by cleaning up at the end of each day. That said, it might be an absolute mess during the work day, but at the end of the day, that's when we get cleaning because it's gonna make the next morning feel like a fresh start. To be fair, when I'm working at my desk, I only keep a few things that I really need on there. So things like my laptop, a water, my notepad, that's kind of it. Also, if you want to get a little bit extra about it, you can schedule a 15-minute cleaning session at the end of your workday, just to help keep the clutter under control. I've gotten a ton of questions about how I plan my content, and I wanted to walk you through how I use Notion to keep my YouTube channel and my social media organized without losing ideas or deadlines. So when you open it, you're gonna see a content calendar view. This is where you'll see all my incoming YouTube videos, Reels, TikToks, all in a calendar format. Each piece of content has its own card with the title, platform, the status, whether it's an outline, it's been filmed, edited, or it's completed, and then the published date. I also color code them by platform so it's easy to see what's going live when. Next, I have a whole section just dedicated to Instagram because I felt like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok were just getting a lot on one content page. I have my Instagram in a list form, and then if you go to my calendar view, I have my Instagram in a calendar format as well. And then at the very end, I just have an idea bank. So it shows the status, the video type, where I'm posting it, the date I want to publish it by, as well as the category. So if it's an Instagram thing, whether it's a series or if it's a single, like the Instagram and TikTok pillar that it's been funneled through. And then with the idea bank, that's kind of like my brain dump section. Anytime I get a video idea while I'm out or late at night, I'll throw it into this section, even if it's messy. Once a week, I'll go through these ideas and either move them into the pipeline if they're worth developing, or just deleting them if they don't align anymore. Okay, step 4 is productivity and focus hacks. I have a few favorite productivity hacks, but one being the Pomodoro technique. I use this so much in uni because it was literally the only thing that could keep me focused. It basically gamifies your life, and it's very simple. Work for 25 minutes, take a break for 5, and then repeat it. It keeps me focused and prevents burnout. Plus, those short breaks are great for recharging, but make sure you use those breaks for everything but your phone. Trust me on this. So then we have deep work. If I need to focus on a big project, I'll do a deep work session, which is no distractions, no phone, literally just me in the task, sitting down, doing my work. I found that I got the best results when I just block out all the distractions and go all in for like 1 or 2 hours. But the one thing is, if you're doing it for longer than 2 hours, you need to take breaks. The longest you should really ever go doing work without taking breaks is 2 hours. If you're not taking a break, 2 hours is the max. If you go beyond that, take a break. And then we have the 2-minute rule. Okay, this one's a game changer. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. Just do it. It could be replying to a quick email. It could be tidying up your desk. Tackle the small tasks right now so that it keeps them from piling up in the future. Another little hack, talk about it a lot, but you gotta avoid distractions. So for this, I set limits on my phone. I just use screen time, which is built in the iPhones. I've also turned off all the notifications for everything except messages so that red dot doesn't show up, as well as all my notifications are on Do Not Disturb all the time anyway. Like, Do Not Disturb is on my phone religiously. Notifications tend to really overwhelm me, so the only ones that I allow through are messages from family. Then we have task batching. Basically, it goes like this. Similar tasks get grouped together. Like if I'm replying to emails, I'll do that all in one block, or batch filming reels and TikToks all in the same afternoon. It sounds like a lot, but it really, really saved my mental energy. Then we have my Sunday resets. My Sunday reset has actually become a ritual. It helps me start the week intentionally rather than chaotically. So for the first half of my day, I will start with planning my week. This is where I review upcoming deadlines, content plans, social plans, all of that, and I block them into my calendar. I'll spend typically like 30 to 45 minutes just planning all this out. And then we do my space reset. This can happen depending on the level of the reset. It can be anywhere from 30 minutes to like 2 hours. It really just depends on the Sunday. You do not have to do a 2-hour reset every Sunday if you don't want to. Even like a quick 30-minute, maybe an hour tidy up, deep clean, whatever you want to do, just curate your Sunday for you. So for my Sunday, I usually tidy up my space, clean my sheets, I'll do an everything shower, and then I'll prep everything for the next week ahead so that I feel physically organized. And then we move on to the reflection. So with this, I'll just check in on my monthly goals, see what's working, and see what needs to be adjusted, so then I'll adjust my priorities if needed. Once a month, typically on Sundays too, I will go over my yearly goals and check off those goals if I've accomplished something that month. And then the last half of my day, I make sure to rest. I'll include something fun or relaxing on Sundays, whether I'm going out for brunch, I'm reading, or maybe I'm going on a walk to grab a matcha. This really makes Sunday something to look forward to rather than a planning chaotic mess, rather than having it be a day of stress full of planning and overwhelm. Something that I'm trying to implement into my life a lot more is energy-based scheduling, because I've learned that staying consistent is about working with your energy and not against it. So, high energy mornings are for filming, writing, and creative work. Afternoons are for studying, meetings, admin work. And low energy days, those are for lighter tasks or even self-care blocks. I do not force productivity when I'm burnt out. And as much as I rely on my schedule, I will give myself permission to adjust my plans to avoid spiraling into an unproductive guilt. Because when you're burnt out, you can't just keep going on the same schedule. It's just gonna be an never-ending loop of unproductiveness and feeling bad about why you're not getting the things done. Tools I like to use: habit stacking. I have recently started incorporating habit stacking into my life, which is basically where you pair a new habit with something you're already doing. So for example, I drink water first thing in the morning, which triggers me to sit down and journal. Another tool is, like I said, the Pomodoro timer. To-do lists with time estimates. This is crucial. I cannot explain how well time estimates work on your to-do list. So when I create a to-do list, I always try to estimate how long that task will actually take, and then I'll set a time limit for them. This will help you stay on track and prevent tasks from dragging on too long. I rely on a few key apps to stay organized. First is Notion. This I use for project and task management, video planning, and content ideas. Then my Apple Calendar is for scheduling. Sheets I use to track my spending. And then I also use the app called Habit Tracker. This is just to keep my habits in check. Burnout happens when you're trying to do everything all at once without any systems. First thing to do is to simplify your systems. Now, I know what I just said, probably not the most simplified version. That is why you're gonna pick a few of your own to work for you and then actually use them. Next, you're gonna pick a system for your to-do list, whether that be the rule of 3, whether that be the Eisenhower matrix, that could be using time estimates on your to-do list. Whatever works for you, this will prevent overwhelm and help you prioritize your tasks. You need to take breaks. Rest is not a reward. It's a part of your workflow. It's a part of your routine. If you're like me and you like to time block, I suggest time blocking your rest. Block out like an hour a day for just you, just time for yourself, and then even more time on Sunday or whatever your rest day is gonna be. Another thing, start saying no. Not every opportunity needs to be a yes. Protecting your time is a part of staying organized. And then lastly, just check in with yourself. Try doing weekly and monthly reflections. This will help you catch signs of your burnout before they spiral. That is how I stay organized, balancing my work, university, content creation, and my personal life. By capturing tasks, planning intentionally, using effective tools, and respecting my energy levels, I'm able to keep moving forward without burnout. I really hope these tips helped you build a more manageable and supportive system that feels aligned with your goals. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments what organization method you swear by or which one you want to try first. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a few days.